Yes, yes. What's going on, guys? My name is Eddie Tranzcendent, and this is the Tranzcendent Outlook podcast, where our mission is to highlight and celebrate individuals, businesses, and organizations that are pushing boundaries, overcoming challenges, and creating meaningful impact in their communities and beyond. And today's guest is somebody who's doing just that. And it's crazy because as I'm sitting here, first of all, we've been sitting here for like the past hour, just chopping it up, just talking, just kind of catching up a little bit. Well, not catching up, just kind of getting to know each other, right? And it's crazy because as I'm talking to him, he doesn't know it, but I'm thinking, because, I'm talking and then my head is thinking about something else. And I'm just thinking about how, I'm like, oh, this guy is like the exact reason why I created this podcast in 2017. 2017, 2018 was because I wanted to highlight, people like him, people who are doing the things that he's doing and people who have accomplished the things that he's accomplished. And he's still young in the game, so there's no telling how much more he can do. Today's guest is Al Ramirez. Al is he makes sure you have to make sure you say, you say union, right? Was it
union carpenter?
a union carpenter. But we'll let him tell it in a minute. But yeah, Al Ramirez is our guest tonight. I'm very excited to host him, and I'm looking forward to you guys really getting to know him. Because I feel like his story and the stuff that he's doing is just the type of story that's definitely going to inspire you, and it's going to push you to maybe take a few minutes out of your time, out of your day, out of your week, and give a little more back to the community, whether it's the community that you're in now or the community that you grew up in, right? Because sometimes we just want to go back to the community we came from and do work there. I think that with this conversation, and I hope that when you guys get to know Al, it's going to inspire you to go ahead and take that step, maybe by yourself. Or maybe you call him and you tell him, hey, Al, let me help you with what you're doing. I think that's probably the best way. Without further ado, Al, what's going on, brother?
I'm here, man. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
This is an absolute pleasure. It was an absolute pleasure just getting to know you and talk with you before this. I think this is a great thing you're doing here, and you've been doing it for a long time. So and bringing some spotlight to Bridgeport, some positive spotlight to Bridgeport.
Yes.
Which is what we need. And is what the future needs at Bridgeport. So that's fantastic. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you having me on. Appreciate having a conversation with you, man. We really chopped it up for like a good hour, hour and a half. Yeah. So and before this, so this was fantastic.
Yeah,
man.
No, definitely. I mean, I've heard a lot of good things. I've seen the work. I've heard good things. I had Gnard in here a few months ago. Before I even opened up, he was in here. We were chopping it up, talking, and he specifically said, hey, man, I'm getting ready to do this interview with this guy, Al Ramirez. Maybe he didn't say Ramirez like that, but he might have said Ramirez or something like that.
Yeah.
And he said, and I was like, oh, I don't know who that is. He said, oh, you gotta check him out, man. He's doing some stuff. He said, I'm gonna have him pretty soon in the studio. And I was like, all right. He was like, all right, whatever. So I looked you up. I saw the stuff. Then I saw his episode come up on YouTube. I watched the episode. And I said, oh man, I definitely gotta get him to come in here and talk. Because I love the work Gnard does. And I'm like, man, I could definitely I'm seeing what's there, and I could definitely, we could definitely take that same information and take it to a different platform and do it differently and get even more people to know about what you're doing, Of
course.
And so
appreciate that.
I think that one of the best things that we can have is just have that good word of mouth from other people. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's so special to have somebody say good things about you when you're not in the room.
Correct.
Like that. And so when he said that, I'm like, I bet I gotta do it, because why else would he just come up with your name?
Yeah.
If not because whatever he's saying is true. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Facts.
So before we even get started, how'd you meet Gnard?
So actually, Gnard reached out to me through one of my good friends, Wayne, who works for Hip Hop 1001.
Got it. Yep.
John Lett and all of them work for Hip Hop 1001. And he reached out to me, just heard some of the stuff I'm doing in the community.
Yeah.
We had a cleanup before that. We do a couple community cleanups.
Yeah.
And Gerard reached out to me and said, listen, I just want to kind of just, talk with you, and similar to what you did.
Yeah.
And again, I just appreciate you guys, man. I appreciate you guys being solid people from the neighborhood, caring about people from the neighborhood, and caring about giving people from the neighborhood a voice.
Yeah.
Right. Showing what we're doing. That's priceless. Again, it's a lot of negative that comes from Bridgeport. It's a lot of negative outlet, a lot of negative news, press, and all that. So just to have guys like you guys who really care about positive stuff, about what people are doing positive, how we can build our community, build each other up. And to me, it's like a team. I learned that from the Carpenters Union. Like, it's teamwork. Teamwork builds the building. You know, it takes every type of person to build a building. You know,
Yeah.
you'd be surprised who you meet on the job.
Yeah.
Right? It'd be crazy guys, it'd be brilliant guys, it's all kinds of and women in between. You know, everybody's a part of the process. And at the end, it's a finished product that you could look at.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like you guys are building from community. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's fantastic, man.
No, definitely.
And shout out to Gnard, Hip Hop 1001, all those
Yeah.
guys, man. Wayne, who you know, saw what I'm doing and said, listen, you should reach out. Because that's how it was. Just
Yeah.
good people passing it around saying, listen, this guy's doing something.
Exactly.
You know, and just keeps growing from there. So
No,
I
definitely.
appreciate all you guys, man.
No, definitely. And this is gonna be the, I'm about to push you on the spot, but this is
Yeah,
gonna be this is the official like invite. Like, Gnard, you gotta come and sit right here.
That's it,
All
man.
right?
That's
You
it.
gotta
That's
come and
it.
sit right here.
Oh, boy.
Oh man, he's good people. I'm gonna get him in here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get him from behind the camera, in front of the camera.
In front of the camera. Yeah, absolutely. We got to, man.
Yo, for real. Al, man, tell us a little bit about yourself, man. Who is Al?
So Al is just a regular guy, man. You know, I had a difficult start
Yeah.
to life. Just lack of opportunity. You know, unfortunately, coming from Bridgeport, coming from lower income neighborhoods, there's not a lot of opportunities for us. We don't know about a lot of the opportunities that are there.
Mm-hmm.
So I had my first son when I was very young, 17 years old.
Oof. Okay.
So that was the first wake up call for me.
Mhm.
Was like, listen, I never even held a baby before I had my son. So just being in that situation and you know, watching him grow in his mother's stomach
Yeah.
and then coming out, and I felt this enormous pressure of just like, this is a life that I got to take care of, that I'm
Mhm.
responsible for, that I gotta produce for. And unfortunately at the time, I didn't really know what I was gonna do. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't have plans for college. Like, I didn't go to the military. So I didn't really know what I was gonna do to take care of this kid, but I
Yeah.
knew that I had to produce, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And unfortunately, in the beginning, you know, I kind of leaned on what I knew, you know, like I knew the streets, like I knew how to survive. I knew how to get through. I knew how to produce, and I would say in kind of a negative way. And then thank God I got a blessing, man. I got a real blessing through the Sono collection in Norwalk.
Okay.
And they reached out to a community person. They reached out to the city of Norwalk,
Yeah.
Mayor Rilling at the time.
Oh, I know, really.
Yeah, and he's a great dude,
He's a
man.
good dude.
Thank God that he was the mayor at that time. And so these developers reached out to him and was like, listen, we're gonna develop Water Street. They knocked down the projects, Washington Village,
Yeah.
right on Water Street. And they built luxury apartments, and then they were also developing the Sono Collection, the mall in Norwalk.
Okay.
So they approached the mayor of Norwalk and were basically like, you know, we want to get people from the neighborhood involved. We want to get people jobs. Like, we
Okay.
want this to not just be like we trying to kick people out.
Yeah.
It's like we want to build the neighborhood. We want to, you know, advance the neighborhood, but at the same time, we want to give opportunity to the people who live
In
there.
the neighborhood. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So a good friend of mine and mentor of mine, Ms. Deidre Davis, she was a housing commissioner at the time, very community orientated person in Norwalk.
Yeah.
So Mayor Rilling reached out to her and said, listen, let's try to get some people from the neighborhood. So she did an outreach. And so at the time I was working for a family and children agency in Norwalk. I was doing armed security for them.
Okay.
And I was doing that, and I was also going to school at NCC for construction technology,
Okay.
because I always wanted to get into construction, but I didn't know how.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to get in. I didn't
Yeah.
know what to do. So I found a course. I just looked up online and I found a course. One was construction management, but it was at Central Connecticut. So
Okay.
that's like far, you know, it's
Yeah,
like an hour and some change away. So I was like, that's not realistic for me, you know, because I got to work. I got to take care of my family. So I found a construction technology course they have at NCC in Norwalk. So I was doing that, working armed security. And then they had a brochure. So I worked armed security for family and children. It was like a day center for homeless adults. And they would always post flyers for,
Yeah.
you know, the homeless people to try to get, you know, jobs and different things. So one day I was just filling up my water bottle and I saw it was like the Sono collection. The Carpenters Union will be present. So I was like, oh, this is my shot.
Yeah.
So I went to the ABCD at the time, now they're Alliance.
Yeah.
And they had a meeting, community meeting. They had different unions there. They had the Masons Union.
And when where you're at, like what year is this? Oh, you're talking.
So this is 2018.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a little while ago. Okay.
Yeah. It's a while ago.
Yeah. No, that's a little while ago. Like I thought it was further back.
No. So that
okay.
So around 2018,
okay.
Almost 2019.
Yeah.
Because it took a little while to get into the program. It's all a process.
Yeah.
So they partner with the Carpenters Union to bring in apprentices into the union to work on the project.
Okay.
So I went to the community gathering they had. A couple unions were present, and at the end of it, and I had my resume. Like my wife now, she was the coordinator then, and she worked on it. One of my good friends, Kaluma Martinez, she worked on it. Now she's Kaluma Santos because she's married.
Yeah.
But so she helped me. Like I was like, listen, this is my shot, and they like helped me. Like they were down for me. They're actually on my board now.
Yeah.
For Build Bridgeport, and we'll talk about that in a second. But so they kind of helped me get this resume ready, and I went to the interview. I waited until the end.
Yeah.
And like I was like, yo, this is my only shot. You know what I'm saying? So I waited. Everybody left. Miss D was the last one in there, and I walked up to her, and I was just real deal. Like I just put everything on the line and was like, listen, this is where I'm at. This is what I am. This is what I could do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you give me a shot, I will not let you down. Like I won't fail you. You know, that was kind of like, and I was real deal, man. I was almost in tears, like telling her this, like real talk, like just give me a shot. Like, and she was like, I'm gonna give you a shot. Like I'm gonna call you. And after that, I was like, she ain't never gonna call me, you know, because I've been through that so many times in my life, and it's a really defeating feeling. Like I remember a time in my life where I applied to like so many jobs, like basic jobs, Walmart, McDonald's, Wendy's, Kmart when it was Kmart back in the day, and like I got no hitbacks. Like they just sent me that email saying like, oh, we moved another way, we decided to go in a different direction. You know, good luck on your search. And that was really defeating. And that's how I like really started like locking in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, oh, like nobody's gonna hire me. Like none of these people are gonna hire me. Like I gotta do what I gotta do. Yeah. So I did that for a while. But when I got the opportunity, it was like maybe 2 months after that, she called me. And she was like, you know who this is? And I was like, I know exactly who this is. Like, what's up? Yeah. And she was like, I got the opportunity. Like, I want you to join the union. Like, I need you to come sign some paperwork. So I'm like, oh, this is it. Like, this is what's up. So I joined the union. I did my 4-year apprenticeship with them. Okay. And it's all free. So like in the union, all their training is free. So it's paid for by previous members. Okay. So like it's like a payback system. Yeah. So previous members pay for your education, and then you pay for them in the pension. Right. So as you work, you're paying for their pension, and it's a continuing cycle. So I got into the Carpenters Union. Again, I did my 4-year apprenticeship. I worked for my company for the whole time. I never been laid off from them. So and that's unusual in the union. Usually you're laid off in the winter. Yeah. So I worked for them. I became a foreman with them, and now I'm a superintendent with them. Okay. So like this, you know, kind of kept stepping up. Yeah. And I learned a tremendous amount of stuff, man. Like it's a constant learning cycle, like just learning. I'm always learning. I'm always open to learning. Yeah. And I'm not a closed person. Like I don't try to act like I know everything. You know, I don't, you know what I'm saying? So if you somebody who knows more than me, it's like, yo, show me. Yeah. Let me know what's up. Like show me what's up, and then I'll do it, and I'll make you proud. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I just ran with it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so you know, backing up a little bit, you know, when we talk about high school and kind of finishing high school and not really having plans or whatever, what was that like? Was it, you know, I'm thinking about myself. I know, you know, when I was a senior in high school, I didn't know what was next. You know, I wasn't looking at colleges. I didn't take my SATs, you know. Not because of a lack of opportunity. I just didn't know, you know. And I think that because I was kind of already like heading in the wrong direction, they kind of let me go, like, oh, you know, don't worry about him. Like he kind of like a lost cause, you know what I mean? Correct.
I ended up making some good decisions later on that didn't help me, in my life. But for you, when you were, finishing high school, you had no idea what you were going to do next?
Nothing. So I actually finished high school in South Carolina.
Okay.
Because I was really on the wrong path here in
okay.
Bridgeport. My sister, she since passed away, one of my older sisters.
Okay.
And she relocated to South Carolina a while back when I was a kid. And she came up one day and she just basically said, like, listen, I don't know where you at in your life, but if you ever want to just like, kind of change your environment, like, you're always welcome in my house, and we'll do that. Okay. So I took her up on it. Like, thank God it's a blessing that I have, or sometimes I'm able to take myself out of myself. Yeah. And kind of like a bird's eye view. Yes. And look at what was happening. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I was just all in the wrong stuff. You know what I mean? Like I was smoking a lot of weed. Like I was just doing a lot of shit that I shouldn't have been doing. I was in a lot of activity. I was failing all my classes. Yeah. So I kind of like did that zero out, and I was like, oh, I'm not in bad shape. Real bad shape. Like, so I just was like, you know what? What's the worst that could happen? Like, let me try it. So I ended up going to live with her in South Carolina, and that was like the best decision I made for like high school wise. Yeah. I got my first A down there. I never had an A in my life. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Just cause you get wrapped up in the streets, you get wrapped up in the BS. Yeah. And sometimes that's popular and that's, a good thing. You think it's a good thing, but it's really not. It's just popular stuff. So then I went down there, I finished high school. And just like you said, man, just not really knowing what to do. Like, I didn't know nothing about the union. I didn't know nothing about careers, like how to get into it. A lot of us in Bridgeport are like that, unfortunately. And it's one of my missions to really just, mentorship, because you need people who've been through it and can say, listen, kid, like, you're just like me. Like, you're going down this road, and I was going down that road, but I did this. Yeah. So maybe you could do this too. And it's whatever, like, it could be the military. Yeah. I mean,
I think just anybody who can present you with opportunities is a blessing, And because I think for me, how old are you?
I'm 35.
You're 30. Okay, so I'm 41. I'm a little older than you are. But we kind of came up around the same time. And I think that what I found was that there were a lot of opportunities. There was a lot of great things happening in the city of Bridgeport. Not like they weren't, I just didn't know about them.
Correct.
I had no idea that there was. I didn't know about the Boys and Girls Club.
Correct.
I didn't know about the Y.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the Sheen Center.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the McGivney Center.
Yeah.
I didn't know about any things that existed when I was a kid. I didn't know. I didn't know that there was ways, that I can go to the library and do it. Like, I didn't know these things, I'm living at home, whatever. My mom doesn't have the access to this. And even if we did, we didn't have a car, but I mean, I'm sure we would have figured it out. But I guess what I'm getting to is that a lot of times, we end up in this predicament just because we just don't know. Like, the options are out, the opportunities are out there. We just don't know about them. You know what I mean? It seems to me, though, that you have been able to, in your life, over and over, you've been able to take kind of like sour situations and kind of like make them sweet, like make them good, You've been able to take, parts of your life that haven't been that good and kind of use that as lessons to move on to the next, And so tell me a little bit about, that the hit you got when you had your son. Like, tell me about like that, because that must have been one of the moments when you were like, oh man, this is not good, right? Yeah. But it is good, but it's not.
Yeah.
And so tell me about what you learned immediately as soon as that happened.
Yeah, man, I would say that was one of the biggest lessons of my life, man. Because, everything's all good when you're making a baby, and everything's all good when it's inside the mother's stomach and not out into the world yet. Yeah. But that, I remember, I'll never forget it. I tell my son all the time, the moment that he came out, and I was there the whole time, I saw everything. And the moment he came out, I felt the most pressure I've ever felt in my entire life. And it was that I got this life that I gotta take care of, that I'm responsible. Like God gave me this and this is mine. And if I don't take care of him, he'll die.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like literally, like, you know, literally.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I was a kid, you know, and I never held a kid. I never knew what that felt like to hold a baby. Like I literally had to take Lamaze classes a couple months before my girl at the time had my son, because I didn't know how to hold a baby. I didn't know how to swaddle them. I didn't know how to feed them. I didn't know anything about it. So I literally was like, yo, I got to take this class because like I don't know nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And to me, it was just pressure. It was just it felt like a ton of bricks on me, dude. Like it felt like a truck of bricks on me. You know what I'm saying? Like just like, this is real, you know? And ever since that moment, it was a blessing though. It was a blessing because, you know, it's a lot of pressure and it feels overwhelming, extremely overwhelming, but it helped me to change my mind. Yeah. Because I used to think negative. I used to think about schemes and hustling and like how I'm gonna get the next thing and how, but now I started thinking about like, I can't do that scheme because I got this kid, you know, and if I do that, then I'm gonna be in jail or I'm gonna be here or I'm gonna be there.
And I'm gonna miss
and I'm gonna miss it. And not only that, he's gonna grow up without me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that was the pressure. The pressure was, I gotta raise this kid to be great. Yeah. I gotta raise this kid to be something better than me, be something better than my dad, you know, be better than our generations. And so it was a blessing, but it was hard. It was very hard, especially just being from low-income neighborhoods and working low-income jobs. Yeah. Not having skills. That was looking back now, the biggest hurdle was not having skills. Yeah. Because when you have skills, you can produce for your family in a positive way. But when you have no skills, you gotta figure it out. You gotta survive. Like it's a survival mentality. Yes. And for me, unfortunately, like survival for us was the street life. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So like it was easy to dabble into the street life, and there's a lot of money in the street life, but it comes with a lot of negative too. Yes. And you could at any time be picked up, be taken out, you know what I'm saying? And then I'm not there for my son. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And then it could be 5, 10 years, even 6 months out of his life. You know what I'm saying? Or you know, I'm 10 years in a bang, mom moves on with another guy. Guy don't care about him as much as I do. He's not his dad. Now he's in a situation. Yeah. So that's what like flooded my mind all the time, is like, I can't let anybody else raise my son. Like, you know, I gotta be there every day. I gotta wake up to him every day. I gotta make him breakfast. I gotta make sure that he's good. Yeah. And that was like the inside mechanism keeping me moving in a positive direction, even though I didn't have a lot of positive outlets to making money because I didn't have the skills. Yeah. You know, if that makes sense.
No, it does. But here's the thing though. You know, when you talk about the street life and you know, hustling and doing things that you shouldn't be doing, but you know, there's times when you may feel like that's your only option, right?
Correct.
Again, you know, we can always still take good out of the bad, you know? And so I wonder, you know, and again, this is not to glorify or to make it seem like the street life is good in any way, shape, or form. You know, I don't want to do that in this conversation. I don't want anybody watching to think that I'm trying to glorify it.
Of course.
But I want to ask you this question. How do you think that there were skills that you learned in that time doing those things that perhaps you took a positive out of? You know, again, it's not saying, hey, go do that, but it's saying, you know what? I shouldn't have done that, but doing that, I learned this.
Absolutely.
Tell me about some of the things that you learned.
Absolutely. So I learned entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
I mean, so I took a few classes through NCC. One was an Entrepreneur Institute, Kaufman Fast Track Entrepreneur Institute. And it's very interesting you asked that question, because like the whole class is about business and entrepreneurship. And it was interesting. Everything I was doing in the streets is what business owners do. Yeah. All of it. Marketing, inventory, being a salesman, having a pitch, right? Like, why should you buy something from me instead of the Joe Schmo right around the corner?
Literally, yeah.
Right? So I learned a lot of good lessons from the streets.
Yeah.
Again, not to glorify, and we don't want anybody to go down that road.
Of course.
But I did, man. I learned a lot, and I'm able to even use it now. You know what I'm saying? And where it's like you learn everything that a businessman is. You're just working on the wrong side of the fence.
Exactly.
That's what I learned from it. It's like businessmen are all the same.
Mm-hmm.
If you're good or you're bad, you doing good, you be doing bad. You got a good product or a bad product. It's all a product.
Yeah.
And it's all a life lesson. It's all selling, or it's all, business. It's all business.
Yeah.
But you're on the wrong side of the fence.
Yeah.
And now coming over to the right side of the fence, I can utilize a lot of those skills. And now I'm realizing that those were skills.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, I didn't know they were skills.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I didn't know that they were beneficial because it's a negative light. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And people don't respect that, right? They don't respect the businessman who's doing negative things.
Yeah.
But if you bring that into the positive world or the real life, what I call it, right?
Yeah.
Like real life, you take off, like in a business or whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
So a lot of those lessons, definitely, man, I use to this day, man, just the thought process. I understand how certain businesses work because of that lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, I know what you're doing. I know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, I know you rebranding this. I know what you're doing, bro. You know what I'm saying? So like it all plays in and again, not to glorify, but I thank God for that part of my life because I was able to learn a lot. Like I was able to produce a lot, on my own head, like things on my own that I was able to do on my own and figure it out. Yeah. And that I could use right now in my real life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, but again, not to highlight negative, but yeah, I did, man. I really did.
And that's why I bring it up because, I hear you saying, I hear you saying, I didn't have skills. You're like, Eddie, I didn't have any skills. But it's like, no, you did have skills. You just weren't using them in the right place.
Correct.
And because you weren't given the opportunity, then you went and you used it over there, But the same stuff you were doing then, you're doing now. You were networking then, you're networking now.
Correct.
You want to get to know the people. You want to get to know, who's around. You want to get to know who the big guys are. Yeah.
Correct.
You want to get to know who's going to give you the better product. Same stuff you're doing now. Whatever. And so sometimes it takes these things to happen for us to like kind of open our eyes and be like, oh man, I had those skills in me the whole time.
Correct.
We're searching for things in life that we don't. Everything's inside of us already. We already have it.
Absolutely.
We have to sit down for a moment, just pause, and just look within. And everything you need, you already have. It's just a matter of how are you going to use it. You were born. You said when your son was born, you're like, oh man, like this, I got to take care of him. If I don't take care of him, he could die.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he's and that's when he was the baby, but. Even then, he was born with a purpose. He was born with a passion. He was born with a life he's going to lead that's already there for him. He just has to unravel. He has to figure it out. And you're there to help him figure it out, And in the same way, you had a purpose, And that's probably what you're doing now, but you didn't know it then,
Yeah.
You just had to figure it out.
Correct.
Because just like a kid, I mean, you have 3 kids,
Mm-hmm.
You can't give them everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They gotta struggle.
They have to like learn some of the stuff on their own.
Yeah.
You have to give them some crumbs and let them learn on their own a little bit, so they can actually like not only learn it, but they can cherish it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, you going through those things that you went through. I feel like, of course it sucks, and of course, we wish that we had other options, but those are the things that kind of helped you kind of grow into the person that you are now. And so again, I say all that to say that you had the skills already. It's just you weren't employing them in the right in the right places with the right people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What do you call it? So okay, so you go through that process. You have your son. That kind of happens. Whatever. You end up meeting some good people, and you get they help you get to a good place in terms of carpentry and all that good stuff. But if you had your son at 17, there was a big gap there. Right? Or how big was the gap between you kind of having your son and then you kind of getting these opportunities to be able to take your life to another level?
Yeah, there was a big gap. So I had my first son at 17. I had my second son at 19.
Okay.
And that's when it got real for me.
Yeah.
So like I was able to survive, and South Carolina was a great place for me to slow down.
So you were still there when you had your kids?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had my first son, second son in South Carolina.
Okay.
And again, it was a great place for me to slow down. But there's not a lot of economic opportunity down there either. At least
Okay.
where I was at in South Carolina, you know, it was a more country place,
Yeah.
you know, country town, not too much industry, not too much jobs.
Yeah.
So I was kind of floating by, just making it happen with my first son, and then my second son came. And when he came, it was like, oh, you gotta make some money now. You know, you gotta really do something bigger than what you're doing right now. So I was kind of in just a bad place with like opportunity. So I ended up talking to my girlfriend at the time, and I was like, listen, I gotta go back home, like, you know, because there's no opportunity down here. And now we got this other kid coming, and we gotta produce, like, you know, we gotta more than what we are. We were kind of just floating by, you know, and it was working, but it wouldn't work for 2 kids, you know, it just wasn't working for the future. So my mother, my father, and a lot of my family was just like, listen, come back up here, you know, try to get a job.
Yeah.
So there was a big gap between my first son and joining the union.
Okay.
So 10 years later, I joined the union when I was 27.
Got it.
You know, so, and I came back to Connecticut. I started working odd jobs. I did a lot of temping, a lot of labor jobs, a lot of temping, low skill, low level jobs. You know what I'm saying? You know, they'll pay some bills, but it's not going to get you a house. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So just the lower income jobs. I did that for a while. And then one of my good buddies, and throughout the whole time I was hustling. Like, it was just like, I'm working this job, but I'm hustling to make supplemental income so that we could live. You know what I mean? So a lot of temping. And then one of my good buddies was like, listen, you should go for your security license. You know, it's very easy to do it.
Yeah.
So I actually got fired from one of the jobs I was at. And I just took my last unemployment check from that, and I was like, listen, let me just go get into the security, see what it's about. I did that for a few years.
Yeah.
I became an armed, I got my blue card to get the armed security, because that's a little bit bump in pay.
Yeah.
But still just like scraping by, you know, and I always had to have one foot in the streets and one foot in the job, because I didn't have the skills to produce fully in a job. You know what I'm saying? So it was a 10-year gap in between that. And just, you know, just, it was a lot, man. It was a lot, but everything was a learning lesson, right? Getting to where I'm at. And it was a lot, man. When my second son came, that's when it was like, really pressure was on. I felt the pressure with my first son. I'm like, okay, I'm just a kid doing this. But then I was like, okay, like, we're living, you know, we're all right, we're surviving. But then when my second son came, it was like, oh, this is not gonna work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When you said when you talk about being in the union, you know, and you know, you kind of make sure, like, oh no, I'm union. You know what I mean? I don't know too much about that. Like, I don't know what that means. I like, literally, I'm not sure. I know people who are in the union, you know, and I've heard, you know, people talk about it and whatnot. And it's a little off topic, you know, in terms of what we're talking about. But I'm curious myself, you know, what does it mean to be in a union, and what's the difference? Like, if I'm not, like, you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. That's a good question, man. And the difference is your lifestyle and your benefits.
Okay.
So the union, they have certain protections.
Okay.
So if let's just keep it to like carpentry, union versus non-union. There's a lot of regulations. If you're a union guy, they follow the rules.
Okay.
If you're a non-union guy, they take advantage as much as possible. Like, and let's just say,
like the employer takes advantage.
Employer,
got it.
So they don't have to pay you certain benefits. Like in the union, you get a pension, you get an annuity. That's like a supplementary retirement plan. You get health benefits. The contractors pay for it. So in the non-union world, a lot of people get taken advantage of. They don't get the benefits. They don't get the health. So the company makes that money still. They just don't pay it to you.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Also with safety, the big thing is safety. Like, they'll get non-union guys to do things that are just unsafe. 100%. Let's talk about just like respiratory stuff, you know, like, let's say we come in here to demo this building. If it's a union job, they're going to do everything the right way. They're going to have the respirators. They're going to have your gloves. They're going to have all your PPE, your hazmat suits. Everything's done the right way. If it's a non-union company, they're going to say, just go in there and demo it. No mask. So you breathing in all kind of stuff. It's more about care for the worker. Unions support workers. That's what the union is about. It doesn't matter if you're in a teachers union or if you're in a carpenters union or anything in between. It's all about the worker. It's about giving the worker a little bit more of their future and a little bit more control of what health hazards and all different types of stuff.
So it seems like the union pretty much provides like a check and balance for the employer.
Correct.
Without the union, the employer is like, oh, nobody's checking, oh, great,
I'll do whatever I want.
I'm good.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's
correct.
crazy.
And you put your people in harm's way.
Yeah.
If the guy dies, oh well, we'll get another guy tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Is it hard to get in? Like let's say I'm not union, is it hard for me to get in a union?
No, so and that's like a stigmatism about the union where it's like it's hard to get in or like they won't take you in.
Yeah, because I heard it like senior, I don't like different things, right? Somebody has to get out for me to be able to, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's actually not like that at all. Like it's not like that at all. You apply, and you do an interview. They give everybody a chance. They give everybody an interview. Not saying that you're gonna get in the first interview, but I will tell you this: if you're determined and you keep knocking on that door, they're gonna let you in. Because it's all about, they know what they have. They know what they have to offer. They know what they are and they know what they can give you. Yeah. But it's all about who you are. Yeah. What are you gonna do with it? Well, show me who you are. You know what I'm saying? And that's what the interview process, I'm actually a part of the interviewing process with our union. And that's what it's about. So the interview is not really to pick out things, it's more to say, who are you? Yeah. And what are you gonna do? You know, what do you bring to the table? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then if you don't get in this time, reapply. Like don't feel like, because we say it all the time, a no today is not a no tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you could come tomorrow, be a different person, interview with a different person, and boom, they're like, yeah, this guy's it, and he's in. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's just kind of like, following through, showing who you are, and really caring about what you're doing. Yeah, and you'll get in, man.
Definitely. Let's talk about so when Gnard told me about you or whatever, we didn't really talk about the carpentry or any of your work or whatever. We more so talked about the community, right? We talked about the stuff that you're doing in the community. And I've seen some of the stuff you're doing. You know, I've seen some of the things, some of the cleanups happening in the East End, of Bridgeport, and I've seen your collaborations with other organizations and other, officials and community leaders in Bridgeport. When did it start? Like, where did we go from, 17-year-old father hanging out in the street to this guy is out here, getting people together, the whole community together to clean up the streets, the same streets he was hanging out on? Like, where was the shift?
So the shift came from living that life and then joining the union and kind of growing in my career. And I always really cared about Bridgeport. Like, always, like, I'm a Bridgeport boy, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care where I am. When I was in South Carolina, like, I never changed my accent. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I'm a Bridgeport boy, and I love Bridgeport. And I have a lot of older family members that always talk to me about how Bridgeport was back in the day. Bridgeport was very productive, had a lot of industry, like everybody was working. I hear stories from my uncles, my brother, he's 20 years older than me, and it'd be like, hey, back in the day, man, it was so much work in Bridgeport. You could quit one job, walk across the street and get another job, so I never saw that in my lifetime. I never saw that productive industrial Bridgeport in my lifetime. You know what I'm saying? So when I started on my journey and things started to change for me, my life started really moving in a positive direction. And I always felt that tie. I always felt, and it wasn't like a hold me back tie. It was just like, this is where you come from. Yeah. And you gotta be somebody to add to it, to make it better, and to help people who were just like you, who were lost. Like you said, you didn't know, right? Like, I didn't know. A lot of us don't know. Yeah. So somebody to bring that knowledge, to be like, yo, you could do this, you could do that, like you could do this. And really just, and I don't want to get like religious or anything, but really was just like that pressure of like, so many good things are happening to you. What are you gonna do with it? Yeah. Like in the back of my mind is like feeling like something bad's gonna happen. if you don't do something good with what, God has presented to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that was playing in my mind for a long time. I'm just feeling like, wow, like I got to do something. And just seeing the state of Bridgeport and the lack of opportunity and getting my opportunity from another city, right? And I'm just like, why is that city giving us opportunities? And what about Bridgeport? Like, Bridgeport's the biggest city. Like we were a mecca at one time, hearing these stories at the family reunions and like Bridgeport had this and we had that. And I'm like, wow, like I never even saw that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So seeing the lack of, and then seeing how my life was going on the trajectory and a positive trajectory. And it kind of just met in the middle, was like, you got to do something, but I didn't know what, I didn't know what. So one of the first things that got me, so I'm a parishioner at Blessed Sacrament on the East End.
Okay.
So I bought my house on the East End, first year apprentice. And I bought that house through other union brothers telling me like one of my good mentors, man, his name's Dan DeMiglio. And he would always tell me like, yo, you ever thought about buying a house? And at the time I'm a first year apprentice. Like I'm from the street. Like I'm just like, I've been living in apartments my whole life. Like, you know what I'm saying? We moved a lot when I was younger because my mom was poor and we just, moved around a lot. So like, I'm not gonna buy a house. I don't even know what to do to buy a house. Like, I don't even know nothing about a house. And then I wouldn't work with him for a little while. And then I'll see him again and he'll be like, yo, you buy that house yet, kid? And I'm like, I'm not buying no house. Like, I don't even know what to do. And he's like, sure you can. Like, sure you can. Like, you could buy it. Like, you could do it. Like, you got to think about this and, talk to this guy and like, start looking it up about your credit. And I didn't even know what credit was at the time. Everything I did was cash. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't even know what credit was. So then like just continuing on that path, and that built me up enough confidence to start taking different classes. So I took some classes at the time it was Bridgeport Neighborhood Trust. They had a first time homeowners class. They had a landlord class. And Dan would tell me, he's like, listen, when you buy a house, don't buy a 1-family. That's a liability. Buy a 2-family or a 3-family. Because what happens if you get laid off? How you gonna pay your rent? Like, and he would just plug me in with it and I'll start thinking about it and I'll start thinking about it on my own. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can't buy a 1-family because, what if something happens, So then I started taking these classes and learning more about the business. Then I had to learn about credit. That was a whole nother venture, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't know nothing about credit.
Yeah.
I think my credit score was like 500. You know what I mean? And I went to the bank like, listen, I got a little money. I want to buy a house. And he's like, you ain't buying no house with this credit score. So like building myself up. And then just all that coming together was just so many blessings coming at the same time.
Yeah.
It was like boom, 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 boom. I'm just building. And then I was like, I really got to do something. So one day I was at church and Father Skip, he was like, it was during Lent.
I know Father Skip.
Yeah. Good dude, man. Great dude. Another one of my mentors, and he was like, and it's during Lent. So, they talking about like giving and stuff. And I'm always thinking in my mind about money, like, because that's where I come from. It's all about money, like money, the dollar. Like, what are we going to do with the dollar? How are we going to get this dollar? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he was talking about, like we got to give and we got to help each other. And I'm thinking in my mind, like, oh, he want money. I'll probably give him $100. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. And then, at the end of the sermon, he goes, and it's not always about money. Sometimes you have stuff to give that you don't even know you have inside of yourself to give. He was like, and then he ended with like, you could give your time, talk with like people in the hospital who are, don't have family and just, different things. And he was like, sometimes you could give your skills. And when he said skills, I just lit up. I was like, I got a lot of skills. Like I learned a lot of stuff in the carpet. I didn't know nothing. Yeah. I didn't even know how to read a tape measure when I got in, bro. I didn't know nothing about building, carpentry, nothing. So when he said that, I was like, oh, I got a lot of skills. Like I learned skills. So that was my first initiative, was Al's Helping Hands.
Okay.
So we were helping, and we still have the program under Build Bridgeport. We were helping disabled folks, 60 plus elderly folks, and low income residents.
Okay.
Small carpenter projects in their houses. so that's kind of how I got started with
Okay.
like the community stuff. And then just looking at Bridgeport as a whole, looking at Bridgeport politically, looking at Bridgeport from different lenses. And I'm like, where can I fit in to help, you know, and to do something bigger and do something better?
Yeah.
Because again, I just had that pressure, just like, I don't know, it was weird, like something bad was gonna happen. You know, it was like, yo, I'm giving you all this stuff, but you ain't doing nothing positive with it, or you ain't doing what I want you to do with it. And it kept it in my mind. And I'm like, I gotta do something. So that's how I got involved, you know, kind of community wise. And then I ended up starting my organization, Build Bridgeport From Within.
Okay.
And that's how we got into the community cleanups and stuff like that. And it was basically just thinking about like, how can we gather people? And a lot of it is like blight, right? Like in Bridgeport, it's like blight, like there's trash. Like I used to be one of those guys throwing the trash on the corner, you know? I'm coming out the corner store, I eat a pack of gum, throw that shit right on the floor. I drink a juice, throw it right on the floor. Like, it's kind of like you felt like that was Bridgeport culture, right? When it's like, yo, you don't give a fuck, you just throw it on the street. It is what it is. Like, and so that's kind of how I birthed that, when I was just like, you know, like, how can we get people together? And I was thinking like, we should do a cleanup, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of how that idea was birthed.
And how did the community kind of how did they react, I guess, for lack of a better word, to your initiative? Like what response did you get from the community?
So thank God it was positive, very positive. So really what started it off for me was the union connection. Like union brothers and sisters are very family orientated. We are family. Yeah. Right. In the union, we're family. We care about each other. If you're working beside me, I'm not gonna let you do any. Dan always, he'd be like, don't do that, Al. Don't walk over there. You see that right there? That's dangerous. If you walk on that, you could fall in there. Right. Like, don't breathe that in. Put your mask on. Yeah. You know, so that kind of was already in my culture, just being a union guy. Yeah. So I started reaching out to the union, and I was like, listen, like, you know, we got to have more of a presence in Bridgeport. You know, a lot of the unions have been distant from Bridgeport for whatever reasons, political reasons, certain reasons, whatever it is. And I was like, that's actually what got me involved, is like, I started looking at the union and being like, why aren't you guys in our neighborhood? Like, why didn't I know about you when I was 17 years old? Like, I would have went straight in the union. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it started with that. And then it kind of became like, you got to be the person in your city. If, like, I live in Cheshire, I live in Hartford, I live in New Milford, I live here, I live there. I don't live in Bridgeport. Like, you the guy in Bridgeport. If you call me, I'm your union brother. I'll show up for you. I'll do that. But you got to be the one to do something in your neighborhood. You got to be to do something in Bridgeport, you know, and we'll follow you. And so they had a couple protests at the time for certain stuff that they had in Bridgeport. And they started becoming a little bit more active in Bridgeport. And then, so that was kind of like, I would say my core group of like, I want to do something. So I reached out to the union. They were all in. And I'm talking about every union. I reached out to like all the unions, the BJ 32. I reached out to electricians. I reached out to the operators union. I reached out to our union. I reached out to like every union, and they were all very receptive, very like, oh, absolutely. We're going to have our people there. We're going to show up. We'll give you money. Like, we got you. So that was a big core support for me. Not only that, my family. Number one, my wife, Brooke, like, she believes in me. She knew me back then. And she saw the transition. Like, she was the one I told you, like, she did the resume for me to get this life-changing experience. So she saw the life change. And she saw like, oh, like, wow, like, I saw this guy come from something and turn into something else. Off of this opportunity. So she always believed in me. So my family, my mother-in-law, my mother, my family, brothers, sisters, cousins, everybody just really believed in me. So having the family support, the union support, and then I started reaching out to community people. I reached out to people on the East End, NRZ. Like, I started, you know, just thinking like, okay, where do I start? You know, and I got to start from the community leaders. So reaching out to, you know, our council members, reaching out to, you know, NRZ, Keith Williams, Deb Sims, Anita Martinez, and just reaching out to them and telling them my story, telling them this is where I am, this is where I'm from, and this is what I'm trying to do. And they were all in.
And they were all in immediately.
All in.
Love that.
All
Love
in.
that.
They
Yes.
bought in. They were like, absolutely. Andre Baker, our state rep,
Yeah.
all in. Like, they were like, absolutely. Our first cleanup was in Andre Baker's lot.
Okay.
And it was 75 people, and they showed up in the rain. Dude, it was raining all day. Anita was there. Andre Baker was there. All of them, they came out in the rain. I had people from Massachusetts, Union Brothers from upstate New York came out. And it was great. It was great to see. Like, I was like, because you always think, like, coming from Bridgeport, like, people don't care. Like, nobody cares. Like, we don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody cares about us. But seeing that, I was like, people care.
Yeah.
You just got to have a reason. You got to have somebody to step out and say, this is what I want to do. And you'll see how much people come behind it.
Yeah.
So that was it for me. Like, that was that first initial was like, oh, this is something needed.
Yes.
And people will come together, And thank God having the support from the community, like real talk, and the community leaders.
Yeah.
Like that was really pivotal, because if they're not on board, some of the people won't be on board,
Yeah.
And they really were all in, man.
No, it does matter though, because some people follow people, and then they see that a particular person is supporting you, then they'll support you automatically,
Yep.
And it's like they say, man, be the change that you want to see, and sometimes you have to be the person to step up and get it started, and then people will fall behind, I think that that you have within you a leadership spirit, you have a leadership you have these leadership genes within you, that a lot of people don't have, when I was working in the community heavily, a few years ago, and I was in there, a lot of people will reach out to me and be like, oh my God, that's so great what you're doing, or what can I do to help, and or how do you do that? And I'm like, you can do it too. But I fail to realize that some people, they just don't have that, and so some people are kind of like, meant to be leaders, and some people are meant to not to be followers per se, but to be followers. They're meant to help, and perhaps what the East End needed was you to kind of like say, hey, let's do it. And then all of a sudden, these people were waiting for you unknowingly, right? They didn't know who you were. They didn't know what the plan was, but they were waiting for something, and you popped up. And then now they followed you to kind of like get it done, And I think that's a beautiful thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, facts, man.
What do you call it? All right, so tell me about building Bridgeport from within. This is a nonprofit organization.
Correct.
All right, and it was started by you.
Correct.
And when did you start it?
We officially launched in September of 26.
Oh, 25.
Oh, sorry, 25. Yeah,
okay.
25.
Oh, not even a year. Okay.
Yep,
Nice.
Yep, not even a year.
Okay.
We've done quite a bit since then.
Yeah.
So we did the first cleanup. We did a second cleanup. There's over 150 people came out.
Yeah.
So that was a really, really good cleanup. We partnered with a few people on that. BACC, the Arts Council in Bridgeport. They did an art project over at Mount Growmore.
Yep. I saw that.
So that was a phenomenal thing. Also other organizations. So again, Hip Hop 1001, John Lett and Wayne, they came through. They did a DJ. A civics, a very important civics group in Bridgeport, Bridgeport Generation Now. Callie and Jameem, they've been great.
They're awesome. I love
it. And they're another kind of beginning for me, because they taught me a lot about civics.
Yeah.
They taught me a lot about how it works.
Yeah.
And who's your state rep? Who's your city council person?
Yeah.
Why is it important?
Local government is so important.
Very.
But yet so underrated in terms of like the importance of it. Like I feel like we don't talk to our kids enough about it.
Correct.
The schools don't talk about it enough.
Yep.
And so, and because the news feeds us all of the national news.
Yep.
And all the national elections, we don't think about the local elections that affect us more than those bigger elections. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before we turned the cameras on, we talked about Kevin Ayala.
Yeah.
And I sat with Kevin Ayala and interviewed him a few years ago. And we talked about the importance of just getting educated on what's going on in your community and who the people are that you can vote for, because they're going to bring the change that you want to see in your community,
Absolutely.
And how not doing so puts you in a bad place, because now you're complaining.
Yep.
But yet you
and you didn't vote, and that was me.
Exactly.
Like I didn't even
Same,
vote.
same.
I didn't even. So I voted in the national, like you said, like for the president.
Yeah.
But I never voted for the city council. I never knew that was important stuff. But it's very important.
And you probably didn't even know it existed. When I was growing up, I had no idea what a city council.
Yes, correct.
It wasn't until I got involved with the Puerto Rican Parade of Fairfield County that I started to learn about local government, this and that, whatever. And then when I was involved with GBLN, with the Greater Bridgeport Latino Network, we actually did a civic engagement program with 7th and 8th graders at one of the local schools, Cesar Batalla. And I'm sitting there like providing this program for them, learning with them, literally. Like at the same time, I'm like, oh man, I didn't know that. I didn't know this, you know?
Yeah.
And everything within the city works in a particular way, and you have to know what's going on, and you have to be engaged, you know? And so I think that, the work GBN did and still does is great. The work that Bridgeport Generation now does is great. Because we need it, and we need more of it, you know. I cut you off, but I just
we gotta activate that. You're absolutely right, man. We gotta activate that. We gotta get involved. That's a big thing I learned from the union and also from these organizations. Calvin's doing good things, and he's another one that I just learned a lot from. Like, I'm learning every day, dude. I say it all the time. Like I'm in a never-ending circle of learning, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Part of the reason why I do this is for that, man. I'm learning from you right now. When I sat with Kevin, I learned from him. When I sat with Erica, who used to run the Discovery Museum, learn from her. Like every time I sit with somebody, I'm just learning. I'm just soaking things in. You know, it's a beautiful thing. I feel like. In a way, I feel like I'm cheating the system.
Yeah, me too.
Because I'm getting it off. Like I'm learning, but I'm doing this. Like I'm getting, you know what I mean? The best.
And
of
it's
all
even
worlds.
better when you learn and then you can act on it.
Exactly,
you know?
right?
and put it into action.
And then we could edit this and put it out for the community to learn. Like it's a beautiful thing.
Correct.
Tell me how somebody who's watching this podcast, somebody who doesn't know who you are, somebody who doesn't know about your organization but wants to help. How can they help? Like what can we do to help?
Yeah, man. So our organization is called Build Bridgeport From Within, Incorporated. Our website is buildbptfromwithin.org.
Okay.
So you can see all of our stuff on there. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram as well. We got YouTube. So I mean, that's how you can really reach out to them is buildbptfromwithin.org.
Do you guys have any kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? Do you guys have like a for lack of a better word, a list? Do you have a list of volunteers that if I want to volunteer, I can say, hey, could you put me on the list for the next one?
Yes,
you know what
absolutely.
I mean? Okay.
So right on our website, you can go. It has volunteer opportunities.
Okay.
You can go right up there. People call all the time.
Yeah.
I just talked to a young lady who saw our first carpentry pilot program that we're doing with Carmen Nieves and Vimero and Company downtown.
Yes.
So we did a 4-week program with them. It's a craftsman carpentry program.
Okay.
And just somebody called me the other day, like, hey, do you have any opportunities to do another program? And I said, we're launching another program soon.
Yeah.
I'll circle back with you. I told her, just drop us an email. We circle back with everybody. So if you get in contact with us, don't think we're gonna forget about you. It might take a little bit of time because I'm doing a lot of things. I got a lot of different hats.
Yeah.
But I circle back to everybody. I make it a point to make sure that I personally circle back to everybody. And there's a volunteer click right there, and you send us an email, text. My phone number's on there.
Yeah.
And she actually said, are you also doing any volunteer stuff? And I said, yeah, we're actually, so on the 29th of August, we're going to be doing another cleanup. The flyer's going to be coming out soon in the Hollow area.
Okay.
We're all about Bridgeport, period. So I got my opportunity. I bought my house in the East End of Bridgeport. I really enjoy the East End. I love the community.
Yeah.
It's just a great place. So, I'm an East End person right now. I'm originally, I was born in Marina. We moved around a lot.
Yeah.
A lot through like the west side of Bridgeport. But like I said, I bought my home in the East End. But we're moving through Bridgeport.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, Bridgeport is very segmented, and it's been like that for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Like you're from the east side, you're from the east side, and I'm from the west side, I'm from the west side, right? And we don't really get down with each other. But I'm trying to show that it's not about that.
Yeah.
It's about Bridgeport, bro. And we'll come to any hood, we'll come to any neighborhood. Nothing's beneath us. Like nothing's too low. Some people from maybe affluent neighborhoods. I'm like, I ain't going over there. You know what I'm saying? Not me. Like, I'm from this. I understand the lifestyle here. It's no different. Somebody who's in poverty on the east end of Bridgeport and they in poverty on the south end of Bridgeport or the north end of Bridgeport, it's the same poverty.
Yeah.
It's the same deal, bro. You the same Puerto Rican like I am.
Yeah.
If you on the east end or you on the west side, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's kind of really what we're trying to build and continue to build on community throughout Bridgeport. So our next event, again, is August 29th. We're going to be doing it in the Hollow area, and the flyer will be out soon.
Okay. Let's talk about, you know, the conversation that is always hard at least for me, it's hard to kind of have, because for me, maybe you're different, but for me, I've always found it difficult to kind of like ask for money, right? Like that's something that it doesn't come easy for me, for us, you know, to kind of do, you know?
Absolutely.
But money is needed, you know, when you have a nonprofit, money helps, right? It helps, you know, cover certain things. And it helps us move forward, right?
Correct.
Again, I've been part of many organizations here in Bridgeport and in other cities, and you know, money is a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah. Helps a lot.
it does. No, yeah, and there's also people who they might not have the time.
Correct.
I don't got the time to go help you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
or I'm tired, bro. I work a lot. I don't want to go help you clean the street.
Yeah.
But you know what? I got a couple bucks. Is there anywhere where I can go? Can I go on your website? Is there a donate button or something? Or tell us about that.
Yeah. So right on the website, again, buildbptfromwithin.org. And there's a donate link right on there.
Okay.
And you're absolutely right. I was like that in the beginning as well too. Everything's been out of pocket so far. That East End cleanup where we did all that cost $5,000 out of my pocket.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'd spend it again any day.
Yeah.
Right. And it becomes difficult, you know, when you're trying to do good things and big things or bigger things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I had to bring myself to that too. You know, it was like, you know, you gotta ask for money.
Yeah.
You gotta figure that part out of it. So if anybody wants to donate, right on the website, you can donate. You can contact me anytime.
Yeah.
And there was, a matter of fact, there was a lot of union brothers that were like, listen, I live in Colchester. I'm an hour and a half away. I ain't coming to Bridgeport to clean up no streets, but I'll give you $100. You know what I'm saying?
I love you to death,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. Like, you my guy, Al, but I can't do that. But I'll give you $100. I'll give you $50.
Yeah.
And that matters because it's
course.
all a piece of the
course.
pie and it's all a piece of the puzzle. You know, every piece of this puzzle comes together to form a real picture.
Yeah.
And the real picture is community, right? And that's what I realized what my calling was, right? Like I did this whole journey. I learned all this stuff. But until the moment that I stepped into Build Bridgeport was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm a great superintendent. I love the union. I love my job. I'm very grateful and I'm honored to live this out as a career. But once I started getting into, you know, that community stuff, seeing how things work and how, you know, we can help out and help each other.
Yeah.
And seeing that first cleanup, so many people coming in the rain, dude. It was raining. Like, it was like not no drizzle. It was like raining. And people were out there cleaning the streets. And I'm like, on the East End. And I'm like, wow. Like, and that gave me a fulfillment inside of my heart where I was like, oh, this is the work that I love.
Yeah.
This is the work that I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, you get those goosebumps.
Yeah, man. And it's like, this is the work that I'm supposed to be building.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And yeah, so money's a big part of that, you know.
Yeah.
So we're now in a full-on funding stage. We just got our official 501c3 status with the federal government, so we're 100%. So any businesses or anybody who, you know, can benefit from a tax write-off, please reach out to us 100%. Anybody who cares about the work, anybody who cares about Bridgeport, anybody who cares about community just coming together. There's people from other communities, like in the first cleanup, there were some gentlemen, they were actually in a machinist union in upstate Connecticut, almost near Massachusetts. And he was like, yeah, I heard about it from my union. We wanted to support, came out. And he was like, listen, like we always hear things about Bridgeport being from other towns, like, oh, don't go there. Like, it's a dangerous place. Like, it's not good. And he was like, I'm so happy that I came here to see the community, to see Black, brown, and white people coming together.
It's regular people, man.
Regular people coming together to build community. And he was like, I'm not even from Bridgeport, and I feel like I'm a Bridgeporter today. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that was powerful for me. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
anybody trying to get involved, absolutely. Just, again, hit up the website, buildbptfromwithin.org. There's a donate link right on there. And trust me, you will see where your dollars are going.
Yeah.
That's a very important thing for us.
If you're watching, obviously if you're on YouTube, first of all, if you're on YouTube, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. I forgot to tell you earlier, but I'm telling you right now, hit that button. Don't just stop what you're doing right now and hit the button. That's it. Just stop right now and hit the button. But also, once you get done watching the interview, go ahead and go down into the description, and I'll have down there all the information on how you can get in contact with Al in terms of social media links, the website, the donate button, like everything will be there. You'll be able to find there, so you don't even have to go far. Just go right there, hit the button, donate, get some money and help the cause. Al, bro, this has been a great talk, man. But I can't let you get out of here without asking you a couple of questions that I asked almost every single person that has come through my who has sat in front of me since 2018. And these are just some questions just to kind of get to know a little bit about Al, outside of work, outside of community work, just regular old Al, right?
Yeah.
The first question is, what's your favorite dish? If you had to pick one dish.
Favorite dish?
Yeah, man, what's your favorite dish? And I just want to let you know, there's a follow-up question, so make sure that you answer this question to the best of your ability.
So my favorite dish, I kind of got two, but if I
okay,
had to pick
we go on two.
Yeah. So my favorite two dishes.
Okay.
Number one is bandeja paisa.
Okay.
So my father's Colombian.
Got it.
And ever since I was a little boy, I always ate that. I love it. It's
Yeah.
just like a little bit of everything. It's delicious. I love it. And I would say my second is brown stew chicken.
Okay.
Yeah, brown stew chicken. Man.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go with the Colombian. What was it called?
Bandeja paisa.
Bandeja paisa.
Yeah.
Okay. So bandeja paisa. Where would be the best place for me to go buy some right now?
Mi pueblito.
Mi pueblito.
Mi pueblito. Yes.
Mi pueblito is in Bridgeport.
Yeah, in Bridgeport.
Downtown.
Yeah. No, so they have.
Cause that's mi pueblo, right? Oh no, pueblo. Wait, that one's pueblo or something like that. The one downtown by Water Street.
Yes. So there's one there, and then they have there's another location too in on State Street.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so it's
So mi pueblo and mi pueblito are two different spots.
Okay.
Yeah.
So mi pueblito is the best spot to get there.
I would say.
Okay.
Yeah. On State Street, man. You gotta go on State Street.
Okay, got you.
They got another location on Main Street. It's good too. The nice environment, really good environment.
Yeah, I think the one on Main Street I've been to.
Yeah. But I think the guys, whoever the chef on State Street, they do a little something special over there.
All right, definitely. What's your favorite song at the moment? What are you listening to right now? Like on repeat. If you could put on repeat right now on your way home, 20-minute ride home, what you listening to?
I gotta say Locks, man.
The Locks?
Yeah, the Locks. Yeah. So I'm just a hardcore Locks guy.
Man.
Always been. I'm a big.
Are you a hardcore like Jadakiss or is it the Locks? Like,
Locks.
Oh yeah, okay, gotcha.
Because like when I was younger, I liked Jadakiss a lot, but he had more fame, so that's why I saw him more.
That's why I asked.
But then like I started digging more into Chic Luch and Styles P. I really like Styles P a lot.
Yeah.
And so but Locks in general, that's my go-to, man.
That's
my work jamming now. I gotta like do something I don't want to do, and I gotta throw these earbuds in. It's gonna be the Locks, and we jamming out for hours, bro.
That's what's up. Jadakiss is definitely one of my favorite rappers, man.
Yeah, same.
I think I go to the gym every morning. And I probably listen to at least 2 Jadakiss songs every morning, for sure.
Yeah.
That's what's up. All right, man. Those are the questions, man. That ain't crazy. I just want to kind of get to know, get a feel of who you are too,
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes we get caught up so much on what's going on in our 9 to 5 and stuff, and it's like there's so many other things, you know what I mean, to talk about, to connect with people on. But before we go, man, if you could just do me a favor, man, if there's a young man, a young woman out there, who perhaps is watching, or maybe there's a father or mother out there who's watching, and maybe they have a young son or daughter who they could share, this part of the video too, would you mind just sharing just some words of wisdom that maybe you would have hoped you got, when you were younger? Just a pick me up, just some words of inspiration that perhaps you can share with the youth.
Yeah, definitely, man. So my first thing would be work hard in everything that you do. Don't worry about who's watching. Don't work hard when people are watching. Work hard for yourself. right? Like that's a huge thing. Work ethic is everything. You can build so much off of just work ethic. And then I would say that the second thing is, you know, the trades. You know, like think about the trades. You know, I know this college and there's all another world out there, but the trades are important. You can make a lot of money for yourself. I'm a union guy. I would always say go union, but you know, whatever your path leads you on is fine. But you know, the trades, man, like look into the trades. If you don't know what you're doing and you don't know what you want to do, maybe you're not into college and you want to do something with your hands, look into the trades, man. You know, hopefully the union, you know, I would love for you to go union and get those benefits and everything positive for your family. But again, do whatever you want. But I would definitely say just work hard, especially when nobody's looking, and you know, look into the trades, man. If you're interested in stuff like that, for sure.
That's it. That's good, man. That's really good. Again, these are things that I wish I would have heard when I was younger.
Same.
I had no idea, man. I was just trying to figure it out, man.
Yeah, me too.
Then the army popped up and it was good to me, you know. Then it kind of, you know, it catapulted who I became, you know. But listen, man, thank you so much for your time. I know we probably spent a little more time here than we planned to, but I think it was good. I think we got to know each other. I think we were creating something. I definitely see each other, you know, working together with something in the future.
Of course.
So I'm definitely looking forward to that. But thank you so much for your time. Thank you for driving up here.
Yeah.
I know it's a little out of your way. I know you got young kids at home, you know, that you want to go back home to or whatever. But I really appreciate your time, man.
Yeah.
And I hope that this is the first time. I hope you can come back, you know, and do a follow-up and let us know, you know, what's going on, how's the organization going, and how we could continue to help.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to be here, man. This was a blessing, man. Really blessing. It's great to meet you in person. You know, we've done a lot online.
Yeah.
So this was a great opportunity. Thank you for doing what you're doing, man. Real talk, man. Just showing the light to certain things, and helping to move all communities forward. You know what I'm saying? So I'm super appreciative. Thank you so much for your time.
Yes.
And thank you for inviting me, man. This was great, man. I know we've been here for a long time. I know I'm taking a lot of your time too, man, because I'm telling you my story.
I love this stuff, man.
Yeah,
I love
me
it.
too, man. So it's really good, man. And I appreciate you, man. Thank you, brother.
Yep. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, if you haven't done so already, please make sure you just subscribe to this page. Going down to the description, you'll be able to find all of my social media contacts in case you want to follow me somewhere else. If you want to follow Al, you'll be able to find that down there too. Again, thank you for your support. And don't forget, be transcendent.